It's nice to see your face. Sounds
I
like
know,
I
nice
missed
to
you.
see you too. It's been forever.
Yeah. All right, let me set this up. Okay, good. Here we
Okay.
go.
Am I like blurry or anything?
No, you're all good.
Okay, everybody else who's here, if you can let us know in the comments if you can't hear us or it looks choppy, just let us know. And then we'll just give them about a minute or so.
Yeah. Oh man. How's everything been?
It's been interesting, but it's been good. It's been good. Just finding ways to stay active without going to the gym.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I think that's what we're all trying to do right now, right?
Yeah. How about you?
Same, like just trying to find like, a normal routine of things in general, not just fitness, but in general, trying to, make the best out of everything. And it's been cool though. Like it's definitely been different, but it's been able to do a lot of the stuff that I'm usually not, able to do because I'm usually so busy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice too, in one regards.
Yeah. Oh, I see. What did Shannon say? Oh, Shannon says it's probably just a video, but Leo, it looks like you need a haircut.
No, I need a haircut. I really do need a haircut.
I think
I need a
that's
haircut.
everyone.
I need a shave.
Yeah.
I look like a caveman.
Yeah, that's everyone. Me included. I'm like, yeah, I need to come in here.
Oh.
All right, let's give them about another minute and then we'll get started. Just so that we can make sure everyone can hear us okay, can you drop an emoji or something in the comments so that we know you guys can hear us and see us?
You can, agree with Shannon too if you want and tell me I need a haircut.
Yeah. Got my coffee.
Oh, I just downed some iced coffee right before this.
Yeah, I was like, I need some iced coffee. I need some energy. All right, let's see. All right, we'll get started. Well, thank you everyone who's joined the live, and thank you to Leo. Leo, for those who don't know Leo, he is business owner, personal trainer of Make It Happen Personal Training, and also one of my mentors, one of my friends. So thank you so much for joining us today here on this chat.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be doing this, actually, passionate about, and it's always fun, or it's good to have these open conversations about, mental health in general. So
yeah.
I'm excited to be doing this.
Awesome. Well, I thought it was good timing to have this conversation because it is the month of May, and the month of May is mental health awareness. And so just to start, I wanted to go ahead and just lay out a couple facts from the World Health Organization regarding mental health for everyone. So depression is affecting more than 264 million people. And almost 800,000 people die by suicide each year. One person dies from suicide every 40 seconds. And suicide is the second leading cause of death in individuals aged 15 to 29 years. 1 in 5 people will experience mental illness during their lifetime. And everyone faces challenges in their life that can impact their mental health. And we are experiencing challenges right now with everything going on in the world with COVID-19. So I thought it was really important to touch base on the subject just because when it comes to health, I feel like the first thing you think about is the physical and the outside. And when you ask somebody, about what their health goals are, usually the first thing that they pinpoint is things about themselves they would like to improve physically. But what we need to think about is health as a whole. And that includes both the physical and the mental. And as much as we focus on the physical, we also have to focus on the mental because it goes hand in hand. Just like when you go to the gym or you start working with a personal trainer, your goals, yeah, at first it's physical. Everybody wants to change that about themselves. But along your journey of your physical fitness, you notice that the mental aspect takes a big part of it as well, and we tend to forget that. So I feel like looking at health as a whole, it all contributes to what we eat, how we sleep, how we move our bodies, hydration, our gut health, that can all impact the mental and physical, along with things that may take place throughout our daily lives. So, Leo, thank you again for being on here. And to get started, the first question I wanted to ask you is, what does living boldly mean to you?
Living boldly, I think, means living life, according to your terms, and what you're, being true to yourself, really, whoever, it is. Not really having to, go by society's norms, and living outside the box and doing what you think is best for you at the end of the day. It could be, for example, like a big one that I always see, and because I train a lot of like moms, is like moms feeling like after motherhood, there's no like life but being a mom, like almost like they're afraid to be, uh, sexy, like, because that's not a mom thing to
It's
do,
not, yeah,
but like, seeing like, I have, again, because I have a lot of clients who are moms, like seeing them just grow into this new role as not just a mom, but like this, just just going from like conservative mom to like just the most like outgoing people in the world to like very confident in how they look and their
yeah,
personality, just almost going into a whole new person and a whole new role. To me, that would be living boldly. Like just society tells you, you're just a mom, but you find out that you don't have to be that norm. Like like
yeah,
life doesn't stop with just being a mom. Like
yeah.
um,
It
for
shows you. It goes on to say, because I have a lot of friends that are moms, and it goes to show you that that's just one part of them, because we're all multifaceted. So
right,
we all have things about ourselves that make us who we are. And I think along the way, like when you have a major life change, like becoming a parent, sometimes you forget that, or you
yeah,
forget your identity deep down. So I can
yeah,
agree with that, and I think you hit it right on with saying that living boldly is definitely stepping outside that societal box that's placed upon us, which
yeah,
can be scary, because it leads you down a road sometimes where it's just you, and it leads you to being vulnerable and discovering parts of yourself that you didn't know were there, and
right,
also maybe improving parts of yourself that need that extra loving. So
yeah,
you
absolutely.
hit it right on. Now, with mental health, what does mental health mean to you?
Mental health, like, is really to me like your emotional well-being and how that like kind of translate to action. Like someone who is in bad mental health, something small can like trigger them to do something that they wouldn't usually do. It would be out of character.
Yeah,
Um, so like just mental health is your overall just emotional state of being. I think it is different from happiness, but it gets you to happiness.
yeah,
uh, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
it's kind of a like a pathway to happiness, I would say.
yeah.
Uh, working on your your mental health in general will get you, I think, further in life than anything else.
Right.
Because if
Like
you're
they
not happy,
work hand in hand. They coexist with one another.
absolutely, like because if you're not, emotionally stable or emotionally, I like to use the word emotional intelligence. You can have the emotional intelligence to really deal with what comes your way. It's very easy to just shut down and like, just not advance or stay stagnant because of it. You know, I know for me that was a really big thing. You know, in my early 20s, I think when I definitely didn't have the emotional intelligence, or I definitely didn't handle things the best way, and because of it, like I would act out. Sometimes it would come out in anger, sometimes it would come out with like binge drinking or things like that. But like because I wasn't happy overall, like or wasn't in good mental health. There was not, even when things came along my way that I should have been happy about, I wasn't really happy about them. It was just kind of like numb. I would say,
No. Now, do you think that, so I know you mentioned that you didn't really like know what was going on, which caused you to act out and become dependent on other things like drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the reason for this, or when you're in that state of being, is it because it's an area that we're not educated on, or is it something that we feel like we shouldn't talk about, or we're maybe afraid to talk about, or what was it for you that at that point made you turn to those other things and not really want to deal with it or push away?
I think it's all of the above. Like we definitely are not educated in it now. I think now there's more awareness of it, but definitely, 10 years ago, for me at least, I wasn't around it very much. Like I didn't know much about it. With the way we were raised, it was very much just deal with it. It wasn't like talk about it or like what's going on. It was just deal with it. And I saw like growing up, my dad, using alcohol to deal with it. That's where that stems from. So for me, the drinking was a way to deal with it, and eventually the drinking didn't do it, so it turned into other substance abuse at some point. But it was it's just a lack of education, a lack of talking about it. You know, Again, therapy wasn't a thing for our family growing up, and I think a lot of Latinos, it's not a part of our culture, to be open about it and talk about it.
Absolutely. Growing up in a Latino household, especially being a male, do you think that's why it how can I explain, like there's a link between mental health and masculinity?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for you growing up, how was it for you to deal with it as a man? Or what were things that maybe were instilled into you that made you close off?
I think that the usual, the ones you hear about, especially, in the Latino community, the whole, machismo way of dealing with things, we don't talk about our feelings. You're the man, you deal with it, you don't cry, you don't, you just handle it. You just, whatever it is, you deal with it, you handle it, but, you don't really talk about it. It's kind of like, you know, swept under the carpet, or kind of to say, but you don't talk about feelings, because you're a man, and that's what only women do, like that's a woman thing, like, for that's at least how we were raised, most of us,
Yeah,
male.
sure. I come from a Latino family, and I have family members that are males, and I can definitely say that that's what I saw growing up. And it was, if you cried, stop being a girl. Like, you don't cry, and you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't express that. And I think a lot of it, like you said, it has to do with our upbringing and what we learned from our parents. And it's not until we go through our journey and we become older that we realize that the things that we once swept under the rug and we pushed away at some point led to kind of losing connection with ourselves and becoming closed off. And I feel like that leads us to a place of not only not feeling connected with ourselves, it's hard for us to connect with others.
Absolutely. Even in like relationship terms, like past relationships, I can, say that there was this huge like wall that it would take forever for people to get past because I was just, closed off. because of all that, like that whole like past of not, you know, knowing how to like open up to someone that way. Because again, you know, you have that instilled in you that you're the man. You don't really, you know, connect that way. You know.
Yeah, and it's literally, you know, now, you know, as we're older and we see these things that weren't serving us, right, and to evolving to our best self, that we realize it's going to take a lot of unprogramming. It's going to take a lot of visiting those areas that we swept away and really feeling through those things in order to get through. Now, besides mental health and masculinity, I know, you know, with conversations with friends, the moment that, not so recently, I feel, because now mental health is coming to surface, but I feel like a few years ago you mentioned, you know, seeking help or suggesting someone seek help or, you know, go to therapy. They kind of have like a bad look on that. Like, do you feel, besides your like someone being programmed to think that they shouldn't show emotion, that if you seek help, then it's a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the stereotype on it, you know, like the stigma of that, you know, something has to be wrong to go to therapy. Like, you know, what is going on in your life that you need therapy is how people see it, you know,
Yeah.
including myself, like before, like, you know,
Yeah.
before, like I was doing the therapy and everything, like I had that same outlook on it. Like, I don't need therapy because I'm getting through in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
I'm just fine. I'll be okay. It'll
right,
go
pretty much.
away.
Exactly. You know, like it's like that meme where the whole house is on fire and the guy's in the middle of the house like this is fine.
You're
That
like,
was like
it's
like
okay.
you know. But yeah, like it's you know, I think that stigma is still there too. You know, till today with therapy. But you know, I tell people all the time now, like it's not that something's wrong. It's just sometimes you need someone who is not connected to your life at all to be like a you know a voice of reason at the end
Yeah.
of the day. I always describe people when I suggest it to them as like going out with a friend. You know,
Yeah.
talk to them, they listen. You know, they give you feedback. It's honest feedback. You know, sometimes you need to hear that you're wrong. Sometimes you need to hear you know
Yeah.
this honest feedback and advice and how to like deal with things better. And sometimes you just need to know that you're right too. Sometimes you need to hear that you're okay for feeling a certain way, or you know, to validate your you know your feelings at the end of the day.
Yeah. Definitely. And for me personally, like my first like instance with going to seek help was last year. I had lost my mom, and grief is also a event that can take place in your life that can definitely have an impact on your mental health. So for me, you know, I'm at that time I was somebody that I had not dealt with losing a loved one so close to me. I didn't know what to do, how to feel, and it was the first time that I can say that I felt numb in my grief. Um, so yeah, I contemplated. I was one of those people that contemplated, you know, oh, I'll be fine. Like this will just run its course. And it's like, no, you know, I had, you know, I was feeling a certain way that I knew just wasn't me, was feeling off. And I definitely am happy that I made the decision to go and speak to someone and to have them hear me out. And I can agree with you. It's nice to have someone who doesn't know you, because I feel like you're able to really let your guard down. And if it's not a place where you've been before with letting your guard down, it's a good place to start because that person doesn't know you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, I understand why it's hard for people because it's hard for people to be vulnerable in general. And it is a place of vulnerability. I mean, you let your guard down, you know, you're saying things that maybe you haven't said to anybody else ever, but it's, I can say like, for me, it was instantly like after my first session, I felt like this better. Like
Yeah.
I felt I walked out of there happier. Like, you know, I mean, it wasn't like, I don't want to make it seem like it was I went in there once and it's a cure, you know, for everything. But yeah, I definitely felt, you know, better coming out of it that day, you know.
Yeah. I wanted to refer to one of your posts from October.
Okay.
Um, And it was one of the like one of my favorite posts because I've been following you and I'm like a hardcore supporter, and I feel like you writing this was just so real. Everything you post is so real, but reading, you letting us know that you were diagnosed with depression, coming out, speaking on it, speaking as to why you held back, and why you were coming forward now about it. Like, I thought it was the most vulnerable, realist, amazing thing ever, because I feel like we need to have more real and honest posts. And it can be hard. It can be hard because, again, it's stepping into that territory of being vulnerable. And with vulnerability comes with that territory of being in the unknown. But I bet you, for you, stepping into that territory, you felt some sort of growth or some sort of progress in that area. So I just want to quote just a few things and then talk to you more about it. And this is your post. It says, "Hi, my name is Leo. I'm a business owner, personal trainer, transformation story, turnaround story, etc. I'm also what depression looks like. Not the type you joke about in private, but the type that takes an antidepressant and goes to therapy to help deal with things. I know what you're thinking. How? You seem to have it all together. Yes, for the most part, you're right. I live a pretty good life now." And then at the bottom it says, "Why not ask for help? Well, these are 3 reasons. I was told never to show emotions. It shows weakness. The stigmas that come with telling people scare me. Online, everyone is supportive because it's PC, but in private, I hear how it's talked about." Now, what really stood out for me is I'm also what depression looks like. Okay, because mental health is universal. It's everyone. It doesn't matter the area of, grief, dealing with grief, depression, anxiety. It's all universal. It all affects us mentally one way or another. So if you can just elaborate, what made you say I'm what depression looks like, or own that part in that post?
Okay. The funny thing is that post actually started off as a letter that I wrote to Shannon. So Shannon is my best friend. For those who don't know, Shannon is my best friend, and that started off as a letter I was writing to Shannon because she was the one that pretty much got me to go to therapy. So thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
But yeah, so like I wrote her this letter and I, sent it to her via text, and then after we talked about it, like I was like, "Are you okay with me turning this into a post?" And and she said, "Yeah, for sure." Like but as far as that, that line, "I am what depression looks like," I think it's important to sometimes put a face on depression, because I think people, when they think depression, they automatically think someone is always sad or someone is always, angry or someone's on the verge of suicide or like, sometimes it's just a person walking down the street with a smile on their face, you know. For the most part, when you see me at work, I'm smiling, I'm joking with everybody, uh, you know, but at the same time, when I was going home, I wasn't happy. So it's, it's easy to put on the smile sometimes for people, uh, and, kind of, I guess, fake it if you want to say, in public. Uh, and, you can't really just look at a person and be like, he's depressed or she's depressed by just looking at somebody, because it doesn't, there's no face, no real face to it, like I said, you can walk around looking happy and really be sad and, broken on the inside.
Absolutely.
So.
Do you feel prior to that post that for you, did it feel like you were living like a double life?
Yeah, I honestly, yeah, for sure. Like, I did feel like, in public, I always looked to have it together in public. Everybody assumed, oh, he's this, he's living it up. He's a business guy. He's living his dream. He's, always happy. He's always, seems to be in a good mood. And yeah, it did seem like, for a little bit, I was living a double life. Like it was, In public I was happy, but I knew in private that I felt like I was missing something. And that just led to it getting bad at some point. I don't know exactly. I would say probably about 2 years ago is when I would say it was at its worst.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just about over 2 years ago is when I would say it was at its worst, and it was getting harder. Like it was getting harder to get out of bed and go to work and put on the happy face and always be in a good mood, even because I wasn't. Yeah.
And I think we talked about this on one of our training sessions, and I remember you said it was almost like a weight had been lifted from your shoulders.
Absolutely. When I like opened up and talked about it and like, put it out there for everybody. Like it's funny because I had been hinting around like mental health issues probably for like 3 months because I wanted to talk about it, but I just was scared. I was, I'm not, not gonna lie, I was completely like terrified posting that post before I posted it. Um, but yeah, like like as soon as I posted it, and I got all this positive feedback about it, I had people messaging me that I haven't heard from in years, telling me, thanking me for posting that. Um, and like just people from the gym, people from even family members that are on my social media, like were messaging me and oh, we didn't know, we didn't have any idea, like but it definitely felt like this, the weight was lifted off my shoulders. It was my first session the next day. I remember I had JoJo and she looked at me and she goes, "You just seem happy right now." Like she's like, I'm really happy about the post, and you just look happy. You look like you got this weight off your shoulders, and it felt that way. It did really feel that way. Like I felt like I can finally be me, all of me.
Yeah, you're
Not just the
owning
good.
every part of you, and
Mm-hmm.
with that, like you go from the inside out because you're owning who you are, and
Right.
that the good, the challenging, and the layers of yourself you've discovered and are still discovering. And I think again, it's amazing, and I hope that more people start posting that because, like you said, you had people who didn't reach out thanking you for that, and I feel like again we all have something that we're dealing with. I mean, we're in a time right now where during a pandemic, which has affected all of us.
Yeah.
And I feel, as I was reading and doing my research on mental health, I read that they started observing May as Mental Health Awareness since 1949. We're in 2020, So I feel like we're getting somewhere with trying to educate and trying to tell people how to prevent or where they can find help. I still feel like we're not there yet, but I do feel that with COVID-19, it's all put us in a place where we can look at one another and be like, I understand.
Yeah. Absolutely, because we're all going through this together. One way or the other, we're all going through this together right now, and it is very challenging for everybody in different, different aspects. Like everybody's challenged in a different way. Some may financially. Some people are out of work. Some people, uh, you know, just struggling with being out of your routine because a lot of mental health stuff has to do with routine. Like, and right now, none of us are in our usual routine. We're all just kind of winging it, trying to make the best of it.
Yeah.
So it's okay to not be like fully put together right now, or feeling a certain way because this is not routine for any of us.
No, we're literally in this together. All of our worlds have been shaken up, and it's really, in part, I feel like it's really had us look towards other things, like being able to come up with creative ways to stay entertained at home, besides the TV and the Netflix and all of that. But for me, like what my therapy is going to the gym. Love going to the gym. And I'm like, well, can't do that. Have to adapt by chance to kind of maybe crack open that book that they've been wanting to read for a while and haven't been able to because they haven't had the time, or discover other things or other tools that can help them clear their minds, like meditation and yoga and things of that sort. Now with everything that's going on, and I know all of us were very involved with social media and the internet. I mean, I've seen you do virtual training. People are holding, their day-to-day work day through Zoom meetings and things like that. Do you think that social media has an impact on our mental health?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We, especially our generation now and going forward, like I feel like we spend way too much time on social media, and I know it's kind of funny to say while we're on social media, but
Yeah.
you know, it definitely does. Like, what you put in front of you every day has an impact on your mental health. I recently posted how I don't follow a lot of fitness like people, and it's just, people are assume that everybody follows like fitness related, but I don't. Like, because to me, a lot of it is very unrealistic. And it like, I think it sets people back more than forward. Uh, and it's like, filtering out what you don't want to see. Like if something really bothers you, why see it all day? To me, like I choose carefully who I follow and who I don't. Like, you know, uh, and like, and it like sometimes it doesn't matter if you're like a family member or cousin or something. Like if I go on your thing and it's constantly negative, and I won't follow you. Like I
No one's
don't care.
exempt.
Like
No
no,
one's
like,
exempt.
no, like if it's constant like negativity on your page, I probably don't follow you because I don't want to see that. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, uh, and I'm not talking about like someone having a bad day and they, post a rant about having a bad day. I'm just saying when there's just this constant negative vibe from somebody, I don't want to be around that. Like, I'm very particular as to what I put myself around or even who I hang out with or like, at this point, just because I like to keep a good energy around me.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you touched base on that. Everything is energy.
Mm.
From what we listen to, what we read, what we scroll through on social media. That's why I think it's awesome that you said that you don't follow certain pages. Because sometimes we do need that social detox. We got to really like take inventory, if we're feeling off or we're feeling kind of like, like looking for ways to kind of, I guess, improve our mood or to try different things. And I think a social media detox, going through what you follow, really pay attention to what you're watching on TV, what you're listening to, who you're hanging out with. I've heard like this phrase of like energy vampires. And literally, you can feel the difference when it could be on the phone or just holding a conversation with someone. You're either energetically okay or you feel drained.
Right.
And above all, like the most important thing is protecting your peace. And sometimes that means not following that cousin on Instagram. They're
Like,
never
sorry.
gonna be there, but hey, you gotta protect your peace
Yeah.
at all costs.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure, yeah, there's people that I'm sure like are upset that I don't follow them, but they know that I've
You'll
always.
see them at the holidays and they'll give you
Right.
like a little
They're gonna give you that little look when they see me, like, "What's up?"
yeah, they're like, why'd you unfollow me? Why'd you block me?
Right. No. And it's funny though because like I think everybody has like at least over the last three years have noticed that I'm very particular. Like even family notices it. Like like they're very supportive. Like they're very like understanding. Like, now that it's all out in the open, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody gets it. Everybody knows that. That's just who I am at the end of the day. That I'm not. I don't mean anything like harm by it or any like. It's just I need to do what makes me happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, you gotta do what's best for you.
Yeah.
Now I wanted to ask, what advice can you give us, besides fitness and being at home, besides therapy, like what are some of the things that you do in order to, keep yourself grounded, keep yourself in a good mood? Like what do you read? I know you do yoga. Just some tips that you can probably give some people who are looking to try different things since we are at home at this time.
Right. You know, like I like to kind of set up a routine for myself, and I think it's, you know, right now because there is, you know, everybody's trying to figure out a routine. I think like writing down small goals for the day, you know, like for me that works very well. Like I'll get up, you know, I'll have my morning coffee, breakfast, and then, you know, I kind of write out, all right, today I'm gonna work on, you know, um, you know, a post that I'm gonna, you know, post later. Or I'm gonna, you know, do my yoga for 30 minutes. I'm gonna go for a walk, you know, for 30 minutes. Like small goals that I, you know, do throughout the day. Because for me, I'm used to being very on a schedule or very, you know, structured day. So like trying to find structure in the day for me works wonders, you know, because when I have that structure in my day, I just feel more accomplished at the end of the day and
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, in a better mood in general. So that really works for me. Um, Also, like, yeah, definitely the yoga. Like, I love doing a little bit of like yoga and stretching throughout the day. That just kind of helps me like turn the world off. When I'm, you know, doing my stretching and my yoga, like nothing matters. You know, like
Yeah.
whatever, you know, whatever problems we got going on in the world, they're just not there at that moment. And I think that's a really good one. I think also for me, because I am on like social media a lot because of work and things like that, um, I made myself turn my phone off for an hour a day. So just kind of disconnecting again, you know, taking a break because again, you know, you can be overwhelmed with, especially with what we got going on in the world right now with between politics and everything else and COVID and everything, like it's constant, like just negative in your feed,
Yeah.
you know, and then everybody's opinion as well on what's going on, you know, it's very negative right now, you know, unfortunately. So, you know, just turning off the phone and like detoxing from all of it for an hour a day helps me like be in a better mood. Because
Yeah.
again, it can get overwhelming. You know, as much as it's great that we have all this technology, sometimes it hurts too. Uh,
Yeah.
so turning off for an hour a day is a big one for me that I've come to really love and enjoy.
Yeah.
uh, Books too, I love reading. You know, right now, what are we reading right now? Brene Brown. She's awesome. We watched the Netflix special not too long ago, and then they got into a couple of her books. So that's on the to do list right now as well.
Yeah.
Um,
I I've been reading a lot more too. I feel the whole like unplugging for an hour for me, I like to start my day that way. Just I try to aim for an hour. It depends on what time I get up or but at least a half an hour. Like I'll turn off my alarm. I'll start my day. I'll set my intentions for the day, and kind of set the tone for how I would like my day to go. And I try not to look at social media because, like you said, there's a lot of negativity going on, and I feel like a lot of it is negative, fear based. That you looking at that first thing in the morning, even though you may not, um, that's not how you would like your day to go for it to start off on like a down note. It's inevitable because everything is energy. We're reading this, we're seeing this, and we're only human. It affects our emotions. So for me, I feel like a good way to start my day is to not look at social media. Um, Now with everything that's going on, if you could give someone here advice, if they're looking to take that tiptoe outside the box and wanting to maybe seek some sort of therapy or help, what advice would you give them with your experience?
uh, Stop thinking about it and go do it. Like seriously, you, go ahead and message me. I'll give you my therapist's phone number if you want. Like, I think it's just we think about doing these things and then we never follow through on them because they are scary to most. Um, but I would say, yeah, just do it. Don't be scared to do it. It's not, it's you're gonna feel way better afterwards. You're gonna, grow as a person because of it, and that's something that for me is very important. I always talk about growth as a person, as an individual, and I think doing therapy is probably something that everybody should do. You know, for me, you know, there's nothing majorly wrong, but I still am scheduled once a month for therapy for the rest of the year. It's booked, it's paid for. It's, you know, it's for me. It's not an option at this point. It's I'm going to do it every month. Uh, you know, just to check in, and again, just to have someone to talk to about maybe something I don't want to talk to with a friend or with a girlfriend or whatever. Like, you know, it's just I know I have that there. Like, you know, to find my balance sometimes too. Um, so I would say do it. Just do it. Like at the end of the day. Uh, and again, you'll grow as a person, and you'll thank yourself later on for doing it. Your future self is thanking you for doing it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Now, one more question. Now, I know I mentioned that they've observed mental health awareness since 1949. It's been a while. Why do you think we're finding it? You know, we have all these tools available, like social media, posting things, posting food, posting clothing, posting quotes that we all feel connected to. With mental health being something that I feel connects us all, why do you think we're still having a hard time discussing it or bringing more light to the subjects?
I think, you know, like honestly, because people feel pressure to present this perfect lifestyle for social media. Like, you know, I think, you know, we see like the perfect family or the, you know, the perfect person on social media, you know, perfect. Uh, and people feel pressure to present that as well. You know, they don't want to show weakness because it's vulnerability and it's scary. You know, um, but you know, to me, that's not real. Like I've always, you know, even before I started talking about depression, I would talk with my struggles about weight loss because I wanted people to know that it was hard. Like I didn't want to ever make it seem like this is something easy. You know.
Yeah,
And I think there just needs to be more open, real conversation on social media in general. Um, because yeah, I think it's one of those, you know, it's still taboo, you know, as far as like, you know, the masculinity, especially for men, like it's still taboo to talk about it and be able to, you know, feel weak, as they say, you know, because that's not what we're accustomed to. So it's going to take, you know, I think it's still as much as far as it's come. I think our generation will probably be the first ones taking a step forward to advance it and make it a little more common, you know. But I think we still got a long way to go,
yeah,
you know. So hopefully, over the next several years, we'll start having more conversations about it and normalize it more, so that it is just a thing, you know, and something easier for people to talk about in general.
absolutely. Now, for everyone that's here, I want to thank you guys again for coming to this talk. And like I said, I feel like we need to have more open and real conversations like this, especially during a time where we're all at home and we're all turning to social media and the digital world anyways. Um, I also wanted to go ahead and say, you know, speaking with Leo, that it really takes owning every part of yourself. And that's not always easiest. And maybe that's not always the route that's taken, but it's worth it. It's worth it to go down that path, even if it means going down that path alone and discovering different things, doing different activities, making that appointment to, you know, make that appointment to speak to a therapist. And that's okay. Sometimes you're going to notice that once you start owning the fact that you want to take that step out of the societal box that has been placed upon us, it's okay to go through that path alone. And your friends and your family members, they will support you in the end. So I want to go ahead and open up the chat for anybody who wants to ask Leo any questions, or if you guys want to ask him any questions on mental health, fitness, what he's been doing during this quarantine. besides growing his beard.
Right, I know. You know, something you just mentioned though, I'll just do another talking point on that, like the societal box, you know, that we're all like kind of in. I think I guess if you want to say my best life, I started living my best life when I walked out of that box, you know. Like, even with work, going away from corporate America and doing my own thing and like, starting my own business. Uh, it was just way better. Like when I started, when I stopped worrying so much about the repercussions of what other people were going to think about what my moves were, and just making those moves, things got better. So,
Absolutely.
I don't know how long I heard, when are you going to get a real job from people? Uh, and now, it's what keeps a roof over my head. So,
now they're like, Leo, when are you going to train me?
right. So, yeah, definitely take that step outside of the box, whether it be, with therapy, whether it be with your life or choices you want to make. Don't be afraid to step out of the box, because it's going to pay off.
Yeah. And back to that societal, like that it also contributes to your mental health. It does, because, if you do the things that you think you're supposed to do, or, to not let anyone down, to not let your family down, your parents down, like that's also disconnecting from yourself. That's also disconnecting from your identity. That's sweeping who you are under a rug. And you can only do that for so long.
Yeah.
Because eventually it's going to catch up with you at some point or another. So why not take that step? Take that step now, and it doesn't have to be, like I've mentioned before, something so extravagant. But it can mean, if you're unhappy in that job that you go to day in and day out, where you feel drained even before you've punched in, then take the leap in looking at a few job applications. Just putting the idea out there, becoming brave enough to even take that step to consider the other options that you're so wanting to consider. And what's holding you back is what other people are going to think, is going to be worth it. It's going to lead you a step closer into owning who you are, and a step closer into doing what is going to set your heart on fire for the rest of your life. But it all starts with you. And it's scary, yes. It's a place of an unknown, yes. But it's going to take that place of being in unfamiliar territory to lead you into really blooming into who you're supposed to be. And I think that's a great thing.
Nailed it right in the head.
Yeah. So, did you want to speak on anything else while we're here? I don't think anybody's asked any questions, but ask, guys. Take that step. Be brave and ask any questions that you might have in mind.
Oh, that was nice.
That was good. Cynthia is asking, Leo, how are you keeping sane during this quarantine?
Therapy. Again, for me, like finding some kind of routine throughout the day has helped tremendously. Staying active, it's not the same way that I'm used to staying active. I miss the gym. That was a big outlet for me. But still finding different ways to stay active. I even ran. I hate running. If anybody knows me, I hate running. But I went and did like all these running challenges with clients and things like that.
I was shocked.
I know, right? I know.
I was like, okay, just one. He's going to do it this one time. Then I saw another. Then I saw another. I was like, okay, he's really going for it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I kept running. I kept doing that. Like just finding different ways to stay active has been really big. Because for me, um, my physical fitness and mental health go hand in hand. Um, when I'm feeling, better about working out, better about being active, and diet. Like, let's not forget that when my like physical health, my nutrition and everything is clicking, that's when I feel my best. Like, so I still meal prep even though I got nowhere to go. I still meal prep for the week. I still try to keep normal with my eating routine. So just that, like all of it, kind of finding that routine and throughout the day has helped keep me sane, at least, like close to sane. uh, so yeah, just that's been big for me in helping.
It's, Cynthia is asking, how do you stay motivated and keep yourself in a good mood to go about your day? It was more than one question. Laugh out
um, motivation. I've talked about this in the past. I think motivation only gets you so far. Um, for me, it's knowing the feeling of like how I feel after a workout or how I feel after, I have a good day because I got my workout in, I ate what like I was supposed to. That feeling at the end of the day of accomplishment, I guess, will be my motivation. But really, it takes discipline. Like, like there's, you know, there's days where I've woken up, especially during quarantine, and I'm like, I just don't want to work out at home because I don't enjoy working out at home. Like, it's not
loud.
something I enjoy doing. Like, I don't enjoy working out at home. I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy just the experience, the gym environment. But I make myself do it because I know that after I'm done, I'm going to feel better. Uh, you know, so just finding that why, why am I doing this? Or why I want to do it helps keeps me motivated, I guess. Because yeah, during quarantine, like that was for a couple of days, especially the first 2 weeks. Like that was the last thing on my mind. Like I didn't want to work out, but I did. And afterwards, I didn't regret working out. I felt great. Like I found that happy place. Again while working out, even when running. Uh,
Your endorphins were released, so it's doing more of what brings you that feel good. I know I wrote a blog post about feeling good, and it's like once you find something for yourself that produces that feel good feeling for you, whatever that may be, you want to do more of it.
so who's this? All right, I like this question. So it says, what to say? What would you recommend to a large person to start exercising with? Um, Honestly, one of the most underrated things you can do to stay active and to start is literally just walking. Like, uh, go for like a 30-minute walk. Start with that. See how challenging that is for you. If 30 minutes is too much, start with 15 minutes. It's just about moving more. Like, for me, when I started losing weight, I didn't know anything about lifting weights or strength training, and I started with walking, like on the treadmill. So I would go to the gym. I would start with 30 minutes of walking, and that was it. I'd go home, and then as it got easier, I would go 45 minutes, then an hour. Then at some point I even got up to an hour and a half of walking. And for me that was only at the time maybe like 3 miles or something, or even less. So it doesn't matter about distance. Like don't worry. Like don't get up and you know think, oh, I got to do 5 miles. Like just get up and go. I'm just gonna go for a 30-minute walk and start with that. And if you need more help, I'm sorry I didn't see your name on here. Feel free to message me and I'll send you some stuff you can do. I have no problem helping people out. So
Yeah, I
uh,
think that was Lou Flowers.
okay, Lou Flowers, feel free to direct message me and I'll send you some stuff you can start with that'll make it a little easier for you. Because I know that's a very vague, like, way to start, but honestly, just for now, walking and moving more is the goal. Like, just moving in general is the goal for you. Um, and then, you can build from there.
Awesome. I see Brother Lou asks, what are your thoughts about fasting and will it help with losing weight and gaining muscle? Also, what kind of music do you guys work out to?
Fasting. Wait, you said gaining muscle. Um, so if you're here's where it gets tricky for people because people always think you have to be at a calorie deficit. So when it's a calorie deficit, that means you're eating to lose weight. But if you're trying to eat to gain muscle, you have to be in a calorie surplus. So you got to eat more. Now, I'm assuming you're talking about intermittent fasting, maybe.
Yeah, I
That
think
seems
so.
to be the trendy one right now. Um, you can still do intermittent fasting because you're looking at overall caloric intake. So if you still eat, the calories you need within the hours you're allowed to eat and hit those calories, you'll be fine. You'll be able to gain muscle. Um, you know, More important than fasting or keto or any of those is the calorie intake overall for losing weight and gaining muscle, both of them. So, if you hit a calorie deficit uh, during fasting, then you're going to lose muscle or lose weight, I should say. And if you're in a calorie surplus while fasting, then you're going to gain muscle. Just so possible to do to answer your question. Yeah, for sure.
And then it says, what music do we listen to work out?
Oh, what music do I listen to? It's a little mixture of everything. Uh, you know, um, Sometimes it's some hard rock yelling, kind of stuff, and sometimes it's some trap music, and sometimes it's a little bit of Spanish music. It just depends on my mood for the day, I guess. I'm a very all over the place with my music.
That's how I feel I am with mine. Like I feel definitely it starts depending on where my mood is. Like I'll start off with like Bad Bunny and reggaeton, and then halfway through my workout, I'm listening to Spice Girls or In Sync, or you know what I mean. It depends on the workout. It depends. I'll even put on like heavy metal, like if I'm like lifting weights and I need like that pump.
Yeah,
But yeah, I listen to pretty much everything.
I think if I'm deadlifting, it's heavy metal.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah,
need it. You
so
need that
that's
extra
the
pump.
only time. Yeah,
Heavy metal and Bustelo.
pretty much. Yes.
All right, it looks like we're down, or they're giving us a minute and a half to close this out. So we'll end this with G. Bahina Alvarez. It says, you mentioned you train a lot of moms. What type of exercise would you recommend for me to start with? I really don't work out at all.
The very basics, squats, lunges, push-ups. But there's really not one real exercise that I can say, you should start off with. Just start off with the basics. If you've never worked out before, definitely say when this is over, meet with a trainer, even just so they can teach you how to do the movements the right way. Because, you're going to get so much more out of it by doing the movement the right way. And I know like squats seem very easy, but they're probably the most done wrong exercise in the gym. I would say meet with a trainer like as soon as this is all over with, so they can teach you a couple of things at least to get started. But definitely the basic squats exercise, squats, lunges, push-ups, crunches, things like that.
All right, well, we're down to 30 seconds. I didn't even know this thing was timed.
I
This
didn't
is
know
my
either.
first live. So I want to thank you, Leo, for coming on here with me and talking about mental health and sharing your personal experience with mental health and shedding light and answering questions about mental health, about fitness. And I also want to thank everybody who joined us today and everyone who's asked questions. See
Thank you
ya.
guys. Thank you for having me.